Hey everyone, Mike here. If you're new to the channel, this is Juniper, and this one is our 4-month-old golden doodle. His name is Teddy. He's about doubled in size since we got him when he was 8 weeks old. And today's video is going to be a little bit of a behind the scenes. I'm going to talk to you about the gear that I use for making my YouTube videos, and also share some insights and maybe give you some tips and tricks that I've learned over the years of doing this. So thanks for being with me. We're gonna hang out here on the back porch, drink some coffee, and talk shop. So let's get into it. That's good coffee. So what you see on the table here is what I'll bring out to a typical Nowhere Bound shoot. And if you didn't know, we primarily do camping videos and adventure videos, mostly outdoor content. And you do not need all of this stuff. You can have a very successful channel and make great videos with just your phone. In fact, a lot of channels do that. However, I suffer from a condition called GAS. It stands for Gear Acquisition Syndrome. Both my sons suffer from the same condition. Maybe they inherited it from me, but I'm also a geek and I love gear. I love tinkering with electronics. I've made a career out of doing that in the audio industry. I owned a recording studio, and it's just a natural thing for me to want to mess around with gear. So that's why you see all this stuff sitting on the table, but it all does serve a purpose, and I'll go through everything and explain what I use it for, a little bit of its features. And I'm going to be careful not to ramble on because I have a tendency to do that. I love talking about specs and the way things work and all that stuff. So I'm going to assume you have a little bit of camera knowledge already. And if you have any questions about anything, feel free to hit me up in the comments and I'd be happy to answer it if I can. So I'll just start by saying I use two cameras primarily most of the time, and that is this camera here. It's a DJI Action 5. It's a recent acquisition. It's one of the newer action cameras from DJI, and I love it for a lot of reasons, but mostly because it pairs with these DJI microphones. You see one that I'm wearing here on my shirt, and it makes it really easy to just turn on the microphone, turn on the camera, and go shoot. And I'm guaranteed to have really good audio without thinking about it too much. The other camera that I primarily use is my S5 II. It's a mirrorless camera. Now, the camera I'm holding in my hand right now is my older S5. It's basically the same camera, but it's an earlier version. It's a mirrorless camera with interchangeable lenses. So these cameras are for your more cinematic shots. They're a little bit better quality than the action cameras, and you can really control the way the image looks with these cameras. I also have two drones, and the reason I have two drones mainly is because I have a backup in case one happens to crash. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen very often, but the main drone that I use, I'll move my coffee out of the way, is this guy right here. This is my DJI Air 3S, and it is a very good drone. In fact, this is the drone I would recommend if you're looking for a high quality drone with very good capabilities, but you don't want to break the bank. There are higher end drones than this made by DJI. I'm thinking about the Mavic specifically, but this one won't break the bank. It has two lenses on the gimbal, so you'll be able to get a more zoomed in look. The zoom is nice because it increases the compression. It brings in farther images into the picture, and it creates a nice cinematic look versus just having the one wide lens that most drones typically have. So this is a good all-around drone for you to get if you're looking to get into that. The other drone that I use is the DJI Mini Air 3, or excuse me, it's the Mini 3 Pro. This drone is great for just grab and go. It's easy to get in the air quickly. It can fly through tree branches because it's a smaller size. It is actually pretty good quality, but the problem is it's not very good in the wind. The other drone I can fly in 35-mile-an-hour winds and not even worry about it. That's not with this. You have to make sure the winds are calm, under 10 miles an hour for sure. And even then it's a little bit iffy. But this is the drone that I use if I'm following Juniper and I on a hike and you see a camera following us. It's usually this drone right here. Just to touch a little bit more on the drones, you'll see I have the remote, and I wanted to mention that this remote control for the drones has a lanyard on it. And I highly recommend using one of these because it gives you a place to put your remote and leave your hands free. There's a lot of benefits. So now I'll talk about the other action cameras that I have here. So next to the DJI, I have my GoPro Hero 10. Now this camera is the one that you usually see on the camper attached at the top following the Jeep. And a lot of people mistake that shot as a drone shot. And it's actually this camera attached to the Yakima rack on the camper. And that's a lot of people's favorite shot. And I usually start the videos with that shot. But this camera primarily lives there, but usually when I get to a campsite, I'll detach it and put it on this telescopic selfie stick here. And then I'll have another angle I can use when I'm doing scenes around camp. Usually for cooking scenes, I'll set up multiple cameras for that. It's also good to have another spare camera in case the battery dies on the DJI. I can just pick this up and continue shooting where I left off. And the third and final action camera in the collection is this DJI. Sorry, it is not a DJI. It is an Insta360 Go 3S. There are lots of reasons why I like this action camera. It has a flip up screen, so it's easy to see your camera angle if you're shooting from the front in selfie mode like this. And the main camera is nested inside this housing. So it pulls out and you now have a little remote camera that you can just point and shoot. And this little camera is really nice for putting it in small spaces. I've put it in tree stumps. I've put it in my cabinets to get shots, and you can just do really interesting looking shots with this little camera. The other reason I like this is because it's magnetic. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it sticks to this metal table. You can stick it to the bumper on the car and get really cool shots that way. I'll also show you these mounts that I have, and these come with the camera. This is a little magnetic lanyard mount that you can just put on, hang around your neck, and it tucks inside your shirt. It just stuck to the magnet on my microphone, so pardon me while I move this for a second. So this camera will now stick to the lanyard like so, and now I have a first-person view from my chest, just like that. You might have also seen this in some of my videos where there's a little mount that clips to a hat, like a ball cap, and then this camera just magnetically goes right in there. And then you can wear it on your head. And you'll see me do this a lot of times when I'm doing cooking scenes. I can just start recording, and now my hands are free to do my cooking, and it gives you a nice first-person view. It's also good for hiking and all that kind of stuff. So that about covers the action cameras. I do have one more device here that I want to show you. Now this weird looking thing right here is a gimbal that I use on the mirrorless camera. So let me just show you quickly how that works. Now this base is interchangeable. So we'll take that off of there. attach it to the bottom of the gimbal. And this is just a standard 1/4 inch screw that's common for most tripod mounts. And that's one nice thing about this too. You can mount it on a standard tripod if you want, but I like to use it for handheld shots. The mirrorless camera just slides on like so. There we go. We'll lock it into place. And now we'll turn on the camera, turn on the gimbal. And there it is, like magic. So you can see now that when I move the camera around, it's nice and smooth. There's different modes on here. Right now it's in pan follow mode. When it's in this mode, it keeps the camera pointed on the tilt axis, just straight ahead in one direction. So this is really good for, crane type shots like this. You can also put it in pan tilt follow, and now it smoothly adjusts the camera to point wherever you turn, wherever you want to point it. The other reason I like using this gimbal is because you can lock the camera pointing in a certain direction, and now if you slide back and forth, it gives you a really nice slider shot. And these are all very cinematic shots that you would not be able to get otherwise. Although the action cameras do have really good stabilization, but it doesn't give you that cinematic quality like this gimbal does. So we'll just go ahead and shut this off. And I'll talk to you about some of these other lenses that I use for the mirrorless camera. So I have 4 different lenses that come with me on the shoots. I'm shooting with one of the lenses right now on the S5. This footage is being shot with a 24 to 105 millimeter lens that is my main lens. It's got really good stabilization built into the lens. I also have this 70 to 300 millimeter zoom lens. So when I'm saying 70 to 300 millimeter, that's referring to the focal length. That's basically the length of the entrance point of the image into the lens back to the sensor. And the higher that number, the more distance you can zoom in with that lens. 300 millimeter is pretty powerful, but you could get even more powerful lenses if you want. This one is good enough for my purposes. I also have a 50 millimeter prime lens that I use. The 4th and final lens that I use is this it's a 20 to 60 millimeter zoom lens. It's a kit lens that actually came with the camera. And I like using this lens a lot because it fits well on the gimbal. It gives me a little bit of variation in the focal length. And it's just a good all-around, all-purpose lens. I bring 2 tripods out with me, but the main one I use is this Manfrotto. It's a nice, really heavy-duty tripod. The camera clicks in there and it's solid. So it's also a very quick attach and release mechanism. The top has some features on it where it will telescope up, but then you push a button and it also flips out like this. This is good for some interesting angles, both low towards the ground, and you can also use it for overhead angles by pointing the camera down at whatever you're shooting. It also has the quick release telescoping legs like this. So it's very fast for setting up shots and making adjustments. It's a little bit heavy, but I like that because it keeps the camera nice and stable in the tripod, helps protect it from wind. The last thing you want is for the wind to blow your very expensive camera down and over onto the ground. Ask me how I know. So this is good insurance for your camera to have a really good quality tripod. Manfrotto. So let's talk about audio for a second. I have a Rode video mic right here. This attaches to the top of the camera on the hot shoe. And I use this microphone for ambient scenes where I want to capture the sounds of the bugs or the birds in the morning, or maybe at a campfire. It's great for capturing campfire noises and all that type of stuff. It's a very good high quality microphone. These other microphones that you see me wearing, and you're hearing it right now on the camera, these are the DJI Mic 2s. I use it for both the DJI Action 5 action camera, but I have a second microphone that I use with the Lumix mirrorless camera. And in order to do that, they include a interface that is basically a receiver that you plug into the camera. And I have it mounted to the camera right now, which I'll show you on the screen. These cameras come with a little mini dead cat that you can put on there for wind suppression. And they have a really nice long range. So not only are they good for talking like I'm doing right now, but sometimes I'll actually put the microphone in the scene close to the source that I want to record. For example, I'll record Teddy chewing on a leaf. Nature. And I should mention that if you're interested in any of this gear, if you want to do your own research and figure out pricing, you can go to my Amazon storefront, and everything's listed there under the camera gear page. And you'll also be helping out the channel if you want to do your shopping that way. So I really do appreciate that. And the final piece of gear that I should mention is my phone. I have an iPhone 14 Pro, and I don't use it all the time, but if I'm in a pinch and I don't have one of my cameras ready to go, but something is happening that I want to catch, I'll just grab my phone and grab the shot. So there's really no rules to anything. I encourage you to just be creative, do whatever works within your budget, and if you just need to use your phone, that's totally fine. You can do a great job with that. The main thing is to just get out there and do it. Push record. Coffee is also a very important production tool. For video editing, I like to use Final Cut Pro on a MacBook Pro M1. It is a great program. You get professional results. It's easy to use, and I highly, highly recommend that. And for the other geeks out there that want to know, I shoot all of my footage at 24p. It's a more cinematic look than 30 or 60, and all of the footage is 4K resolution. I do a little bit of color correcting, but not very much. Just a few final thoughts I'll share with you about making videos on YouTube, specifically camping videos like I enjoy doing. The number one recommendation I have is to have some kind of a storyline to your videos, and that's something that I'm working on too. I think that videos that have a little bit of a story, whether that's just camping in the cold to see how your equipment performs, to checking out a new viewpoint or a vista that you've never seen, or a new campsite, as long as there's something to carry the video besides just footage of trees and birds and stuff like that, I think that really helps. And there's an art to doing that. That's one of the things that I really love about making YouTube videos, is all the aspects, working on the story, playing around with the equipment and the gear, finding the perfect shots to tell the story, and all that stuff. To go along with your storytelling, I recommend you collect a lot of B-roll when you're out there shooting. And those are the cutaway shots. Those are any shots that don't have you talking to the camera and sort of set the scene to tell the story that you're trying to tell. Include an establishing shot, play around with time lapses, use a selfie stick to get some shots really low to the ground, or if you have a dog, get some close-ups of your dog's face. All that kind of stuff helps. Just have fun and experiment. I mean, that's the point of all of this. We're out here to have fun and enjoy the outdoors and enjoy our experience on YouTube. And I think if you're having fun making the videos, it translates to the audience and they'll have fun as well. So I think I've babbled long enough, and I appreciate you watching the video to the end. If you have any questions, again, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Always, thank you to the Patreon subscribers for your continued support. The channel would not be possible without you. The next video will be an adventure video out in the wilderness somewhere. So appreciate you tagging along, and I'll see you again nowhere soon. Be good to each other, get outside, make an awesome YouTube video. Take care, everybody.